Hello everyone, and this is Sara, and this will be a contest contribution for Valderamma's 100 subs contest. Yep. First of all, congratulations, man, for all your subscribers. I hope you get plenty of them. I have just gone through my CDs and vinyl, not the singles and not the tapes, and found a whole lot of offensive stuff. As you can probably tell, as I collect metal, there are plenty of stuff to choose from. So I will just show quite a small piece of the stuff I have. But there is a pile of CDs and vinyl here, so I will go through them very quickly. And this is not for the faint-hearted, or how to speak. Some of the covers are pretty bad, so I warn you. So congratulations again, and yeah, let's go through the stuff. And this first CD is not really that offensive in the artwork, or how to say, but the title of the CD is pretty offensive. This is Antisemix with Raped Ass. And you can see he's saying, "I'll buy all the uranium you've got." This is of course one of the finest crust bands in Sweden, and I bought this CD from the town they are from, a town like 30 minutes from my town. So Raped Ass. And then we have some, of course you gotta show some Cannibal Corpse. This is Bloodthirst, quite a late album from '99. I call that late. You can see it's pretty gory. Of course their artwork gets censored all the time. I had to show some Dark Zone, not because of this cover, but because of the back. I love this cover though, I really do. It's one of the, easiest things to actually do. It's not so complex, as you can see. But on the back you have Norsk arisk black metal, and that translates to Norwegian Aryan black metal. So they have to change that afterwards. Peace weren't very happy about being labeled as something, something to do with Aryan stuff, because there were plenty of Nazi things going on in that scene back then. And of course Valderamma69's from Bursum has written the lyrics to half this album, so I guess that's maybe why they put that on. But they changed that later on. Had to show that one. Okay, speaking of offensive stuff, one has to show some this side. I show Serpents of the Light, and of course all of their albums are really offensive towards Christianity. Glenn Benton, especially back then, was not a fan of Jesus, so you can see that's pretty bad as well. Jesus having a mask on and the tongues and stuff. Yeah. Okay, some Swedish death metal now. Dismember with Pieces. I don't know if you can see. Let's have a close look. There, their heads have been cut off, and their hair is in a knot together, and they're one of the members upon the cross. And I don't know if you can see his face, but he's really grinning. He's looking very evil. I had to show this one. This is a EP, Pieces. Okay, going through because the time is running very quickly. Here, something very surprising maybe. Mr. Hanky's Christmas Classics, one of the best Christmas albums of all time, with Mr. Hanky, of course, the Christmas poo. Yeah, as you can see, it's a poo in a couch wishing you Merry Christmas. So, great album. I love South Park. Let's move on to Mayhem, and this is pure fucking Armageddon. And it's a zombie there on the cover. With Dead on vocals there. And this is Marduk short, it's a EP, Marduk Obedience. You can't really tell, the cover is kind of blurry there, but on the cover you can see this is S&M kind of stuff. Yep. And the CD there. This is back of the CD. Boobs. Yep. So it's pretty cool. And this is a special one I listened to the other day. Not many people, I believe, knows about this band or this album. They made a couple of albums, but this one is the only that's really, really good. And they kind of rode upon the wave of Dissection and those kind of bands in Sweden. I don't know if you can see here, but that's, let's see, that's a whole lot of planes attacking a church. As you can see, Holy Target is the name of the album. And so this is, you can see by this blood-drenched man there, they're not very happy about the church. Nope. Okay. Then I found Phil from Pantera. He had a band, short, it's called Super Joint Ritual, Use Once and Destroy. And this is a bit offensive as it has the pentagram, of course, the leaf inside the pentagram, and also Phil, a cartoon of Phil having the X as Charles Manson did, and the followers of Charles Manson. The only album they did. Okay, this is offensive because it's so bad. This is a great black metal album from Norway, but the cover is really bad. But this is really good. It's a primitive black metal style. So Toulouse, pure black energy, and yeah, that's a really ugly looking cover. Yeah, really, really, really bad, but it's a great, great album. It's really good, and this is quite hard to find. I found this maybe like 10 years ago, no, more, I think it was, somewhere, and I didn't know anything about this album, but I had to pick it up because, yeah, anyone looking like that, you gotta hear how they sound. It's really, really fucking good, music-wise. Okay, moving on to the LPs. Of course, you gotta show some Black Sabbath. With Demons, Boobs, and in a bed with 666. This is, of course, reflecting sin. Really cool cover. And this, Hell and Heaven. Of course, one of the greatest covers of all time. Then we move on to some more gory stuff. Bloodbath, Swedish death metal, really great band. This is Nightmares Made Flesh. And as you can see, all of his insides hanging out there. Yeah, really cool cover. And this one of course has Don Svanö on guitars and Jonas Renkse from Katatonia, Martin Axelrod, which now plays with Opeth on drums there, and Peter Täckgren on vocals. The album after this has Mikael Åkerfeldt from Opeth on vocals, but sadly he has split from the band now. But this is a great death metal album. All of their stuff are amazing. Really gory covers and all of it. I showed this in my recent finds video, Congos, some reggae, and they're smoking like hell, looking a bit zombified, so thought I'd show that again. Just look how... Of course you gotta show some carcass. This is one of the most brutal covers of all time, in my opinion. I get pretty sick when I look at it, actually. Brains hanging out there. Let's have a closer look. Yeah, it's not so nice. But cool. I love Carcass. Then this is a really warning for this cover, because this cover is also, it's real. It's a... The band name is Filthy Christians, and the album title is Mean, and they only did one LP on Earache Records. They play grindcore. They're Swedish, and this cover has a shot of the Prime Minister Olof Palme. He was shot in the head, and he was a very, very loved politician here in Sweden. I actually was quite small when it happened, when he was assassinated, but I remember it on the news, and that all the grown-ups were, you know, in panic over the stuff. So Filthy Christians, 1 year later after the event, has this on the cover. So I'm warning you. Yeah, you can see for yourselves there. And they, yeah, they I don't know how they got away with this, but yeah, that's pretty fucked up. Okay, something a bit softer now. Lynyrd Skynyrd, and I thought I'd show this. This looks very soft, you know, and yeah, no problem here, except for the weed, maybe, on the cover, and the bones. From the first album they had the bones logo, and here you have the weed. So I guess that can offend someone. Okay, finally found a copy of this one. I actually got this for free from a friend of mine, because I had been talking about it quite a lot. Pretty beat up cover, but yeah, it's the original uncensored version. Mom's Apple Pie. And I need the uncensored, I mean the censored version after this as well. I want that one. And I actually like this album a lot, but the cover makes it all worth it. Mom's Apple Pie, first debut album. Okay, she's looking very... Why? Because she has a pie with a dripping vagina in there. That's really... This is one of my favorite covers of all time. I really love this cover. It's offensive and brilliant. Okay, had to dig and find some Sodom, which I'm wearing here. Sodom to show. And let me pull it out from the sleeve here. This is Mortal Way of Life, or Life. A really cool live double vinyl from Sodom. And let me show a bit closer. There's a dude with his tongue near a cat's ass. That's not okay. That's boob. Lots of sin here. Yeah. Something doing something with a goat. More boobies. Yeah. So that's representing the Roman ancient lifestyle, I suppose, of sin. Okay, you had to show some Giger artwork, I suppose, and I guess you can show some Celtic Frost, but I choose to show Triptychon, which of course is related to Celtic Frost by the founder and member singer. This is Triptychon with their debut album, and as you can tell here, let's have a closer look. Yeah, Giger is always somewhat offensive in his art. I like this album a lot, and yeah, of course, he's a huge admirer of Giger, so there were no question of who was doing the artwork for that one. Okay, gotta show some classic stuff here. I hope I am showing some classic stuff and some pretty unknown records or covers. One of my favorite ones, one of the first really offensive stuff I bought. I've shown this before, as I have the clear edition of this one. I also have a box, but this is one of my first records I bought for my own money, and for $2 or $3 actually, with the clear vinyl, first pressing. And I didn't know how this sounded, but I had to buy that because they're in a graveyard and they want to cut her throat, and there are boobs and blood. So death penalty with one of the coolest doom bands which I find in general. From the 80s, I must say. Of course, they worship Black Sabbath. Okay, two more. I had to show some Merciful Fate, of course, being a very offensive band with King Diamond, and always having such anti-Christian lyrics and stuff. So I had to show this one, Merciful Fate, Live from the Depths of Hell. It's a good title as well. Of course, a bootleg. Early stuff, really cool. Lots of blood and the skull there, and the spider, which if you hold it quite far from, it looks like maybe a gun hole or something. Looks like he's been shot, but it's a spider. Yeah, really cool. Skull here as well. Glad to have this in my Merciful Fate collection. I collect both Merciful Fate and King Diamond. So, and the last one, the most offensive of them all, to me it's really offensive. This is something I walked in at a flea market and saw this and I just grabbed it because it was so offensive. Okay. I have put a little sticker here to remind me of when I bought it. David Hasselhoff. Lonely is the night. Yes, I found this very offensive. Look at that. So offensive. And especially should them means I love you and looking for freedom. Freeman would be cool too. Looking for freedom. Really offensive songs. So cheesy. But I guess he is a god as well. You know. I love Knight Rider. We have a saying in this house that if you see something made by Hasselhoff, you have to buy it. So even though it is so offensive, you gotta have it because it's the most offensive material of all time. So that ends my little contribution in this contest. Hope you have enjoyed what I've shown and that you're not too scared now. Or maybe you are. So, see you soon. I'm going to make a Opus collection video very soon, maybe this weekend or next week. So, I hope you will be back looking at that. And once again, congratulations. Hope that you are taking this contribution. Bye.